Hi again, everybody. Welcome into our ESP Media Studios as we were here on LovelandTigers.org. Very excited to have with us the brand new head coach of the Loveland Tigers football team, Andy Cruse, is here with us. And, Coach, congratulations on the new appointment. You got to be very excited to get things going.
I'm extremely excited. I met with the team last week, had a couple of lifts already. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been a lot of fun, too.
We'll talk about everything that's still to come because I'm sure you're starting to piece everything together a little bit. But a little bit about your background, too. And I admit some people may or may not know, I get to broadcast Miami University hockey, another one of the part-time jobs. You're a Miami University grad as well on the football side of things. I remember watching you on the gridiron there and had an awful lot of success. Number 6 all-time leading receiving. And tell me a little bit about just going back and thinking about your days at Miami.
It was an unbelievable experience. Had 3 head coaches, had a lot of ups and downs, but the class I had was a special class. We were extremely close. We won a MAC championship actually in 2010. We were 10-4. Last couple years not so great, but it was a good run, and I really enjoyed my time and learned a lot. Just socially, athletically, couldn't ask for a better experience in college.
Now, who were some of the quarterbacks that you had while you were there?
So the main one was Zach Dicer, who was an NFL guy
Not
for
bad.
4 or 5
Yes,
years.
he was.
Broke all Big Ben's records. Was extremely talented, great to work with, and we threw the ball probably 40 times a game, so we had some fun.
So that's a good guy to be throwing to you then.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Certainly helped with the numbers then. So afterwards, you signed a free agent deal. You got to even see a little bit of NFL experience and going down to the Houston Texans.
I did. It was 2013. They called me right after the draft, and I signed my contract that next day. And then by the next weekend, I was down there in Houston. I was there for about a year and a half. Yeah. 2013 was the season.
Wow.
It was a great experience. I mean, I can remember walking in the locker room and seeing guys like Ed Reed, J.J. Watt, Andre Johnson, Arian Foster, too. You see those guys on TV, then the next day you're their teammate. It was unbelievable. But then you grow to understand, like, they're regular guys, too. They want to be successful. They have problems, too, the everyday guys.
And they got to work just as hard, too, to get to the success they have.
And I learned a lot from them, too, which was tremendous for me.
Was that during the stretch where the Texans playing the Bengals in the playoffs at any of those times?
I think it was just after, because I remember my buddies all upset that I was going to the Texans and all that. But, yeah, it was all good.
That's cool. And during the preseason, you caught a touchdown pass at Texas or at Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So is that big Jerry's World Stadium or the old place?
It was. I remember pulling up to it. It was Dallas Cowboys Stadium. It looked like a spaceship. It's enormous, right? And Houston Stadium's pretty big too, but this is even bigger. So I still have that ball, but I scored a touchdown. I played the entire second half. It was kind of my opportunity to shine, and we had some fun. I still have that ball, and I won't ever forget that touchdown.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, not many people can say they caught a touchdown on an NFL field. So with that, you had 3 coaches in 3 years at Miami. Then you go to the NFL. Gary Kubiak, who's a great offensive mind. How much of all of that are you kind of putting together for what you're trying to process as you move forward as a coach?
So I've been exposed to, like you said, so many different coaching staffs. Even as a coach, I've been exposed to a lot of coaching staffs too, just in my 4 years. So I've seen a lot, and I know kind of what it takes to develop young men, and I know what it takes to be successful. With Gary Kubiak, I tell a lot of people he's probably my favorite coach I had, just because he was so well connected to his players. I was an undrafted free agent, and he would check in with me probably every day. How you doing, Andy?
No kidding.
Things going all right? Keep doing what you're doing. And for a guy like me at that point in time, like that meant a lot. And I kind of try to take that into coaching and just take that into consideration for all your players to develop that close relationship.
Do you think is that the norm in the NFL at that level, that coaches get that close? I mean, obviously it's hard.
I don't think it is. Yeah. No, because I had 2 other head coaches. They weren't necessarily like that. And that's okay. It's the NFL. It's a business. But
sure,
to me, Gary Kubiak, that was impressive for me.
So you go through that, and then you decide, I guess, I'm done with that part of my life. Next step, coaching. So, and I know you started at Turpin. Is that the first job?
I did start at Turpin. That's where I went to high school. I was able to coach with Rob Stahl, who coached me.
Okay, yeah.
And that was a terrific learning experience just to see kind of both sides of a program, playing there and then coaching there.
And then you've been the last couple of years as a special teams coordinator over at Moeller. So a couple of different coaches there over the years as well. So what do you take from all these coaches and try? I mean, you've had a lot of coaches over all the years playing and now, as you said, coaching.
So, I've been exposed to a lot of different culture changes. As a player, to reprove yourself quite a bit, right? With a coaching change, and the same thing can be said with a new coach when you're a coach. So it's something I told the guys last Thursday at the first team meeting. I said, look, change is something that happens in life.
That's
right?
a good point.
It's a part of life. So I told them that, it's not easy. It's tough. I told them I understood it. I understand if they're feeling like, they don't like it at first, but what I told them was everybody's on the same playing field,
sure.
Clean slate, all that good stuff. And, this is a chance to basically prove yourself to me. I don't know much about these guys, so they got a shot to just really buy in and let's get this thing rolling.
And that's a very good point. So do you go back, try to watch game tapes from last year? I mean, I'm sure you haven't had that chance just yet, but that's part of the process.
Right. I've watched a little bit, but, like I said, I kind of want to form my own opinions. I've heard some things from guys I've talked to about the program, of course, but I want to form my own opinions on the guys and kind of wipe their slates clean and let them go.
That's a great idea to do that. A lot of history, a lot of people very excited at Loveland, but the history that is there, the excitement level is there. Have you kind of gotten a pulse of what that's going to be like yet?
So during the interview process, I learned a lot about Loveland, which was good. It was really good for me. Actually, growing up, my cousins all graduated from Loveland, so I knew a little bit about Loveland. But going through the whole process, I didn't understand that Loveland they were crazy about their football.
Exactly.
I mean,
I didn't want to put it quite that way, but
I love it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Like you want them crazy about the football because there's so much support from the community.
Right.
Last year with their record, they were still selling out their games. I mean, that speaks volumes to what kind of community that is. So, I can definitely sense the pulse in that community, how they feel about their sports. So it's been good, and I'm looking forward to it.
So now you get to put staff together. So, I mean, how does that work? I mean, do you go on maybe some of the people that were there? Do you go with connections that you've had along the way? I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a tough.
It's definitely a process.
Yeah.
I've spoken with 5 to 7 guys already, getting pretty close to naming some guys. But there's some guys in house as well as guys that I've made plenty of connections with over my time from coaching, playing. So there's guys out there. There's guys that are excited. I had a lot of guys reach out to me right away. Like, hey, I'm interested. So, there's guys out there. We're going to put together the best staff we possibly can.
You kind of got like that whole young mindset now that we're seeing at all levels, whether it's in college football, whether it's even with the Bengals in the NFL with Zach Taylor. So you got that kind of same enthusiasm. I can already sense it. So
I think I do. I think I do. I think I relate to players extremely well. I wasn't a player. I was a player, 4 or 5 years ago. It's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So, I understand what they're going through at times. At the same time, though, I understand that level of energy you need to have to be successful. So when I'm thinking about, other coaches coming on board, they got to be the same way.
Sure.
I want coaches that are excited about ball, great teachers, and that's what we're working to get. But, I think I have that, and, I think other coaches that we're going to bring in will have that as well.
And I can certainly sense that for sure. So what's the process now? You said you had a couple of lists together with the guys. So how do you kind of work through the rest of the school year, meeting these guys? I mean, what can you do at this point now?
To me, I told these guys last Thursday, it's all about learning to compete. Because, in the weight room, we're going to build some teamwork, some chemistry, but it's about learning to compete. Because, before you learn to win, you got to learn to compete. So on a daily basis, we're competing in there, believe me. We've had 2 lifts, but if you talk to the guys, they know, like, at the end of the lift, they can expect a little something extra.
That's good.
Whether it's offense versus defense, a younger guy versus an older guy, just switching things up on them and really just growing that culture in there. Because I think that weight room, that's where the culture grows. That's where you build champions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, you got a lot of that time to put all that together, but I'm sure you're already anxious for September, really, the end of July, August to get going. But get a little bit of time into that. So pace yourself a little bit, but enjoy the process. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I know that the Loveland community very excited to have you there. So congratulations.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's the new head football coach, Andy Cruse. And I'm Greg Waddell for LovelandTigers.org.